Hi there, my lovelies. This is Jana here. Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to make a very interesting dish that it looks very fancy, but it couldn't be easier. We're going to make an onion and sun-dried tomatoes tartatin with feta cheese. Vegan, that is, of course, always vegan. And you're going to love it because it's so nice. It's so unexpected. I know it's a kind of a wintry dish, but I wanted to make it anyway. So you can blame me because it's delicious, and you'll see. Now, let's start by the pastry. You have two options. You can use the good old puff pastry. Make sure it's vegan, that you buy at the supermarket. Or you can use a short crust pastry, because the savory one, that is, okay? Because although there are hints of sweetness in this tart, we are not aiming for sweetness, so it's supposed to be the savory kind. And it always has to be cold before we put it in the oven, but we're gonna cover that later. And meanwhile, we're going to spread it. You are going to measure the baking dish that you're going to use, and then you're going to measure because it's supposed to be tucked in inside, because it's going to be upside down, okay? Alright, so now that you puff pastry or your short, this is a difficult word, short crust pastry. That's a very difficult one for me. So put it in the fridge, okay? Because if it's at room temperature, it's not gonna brown properly. Yeah, that's right. Alright, so now we're going to make the onions. And for this tart, you're not supposed to, I think it looks better if it's small onions like that, because it's cuter. And then you're going to cut in half. But if you have regular onions, like the medium size, it all depends on how big your pan is, okay? Keep that in mind. But if you have the bigger ones, you cut them in quarters, okay? Because so this way they're going to fit better your pan. And since this dish is so easy and so simple to make, there are a few things that we're supposed to pay attention, such as the presentation. So whatever you put in the bottom of your pan, because it's going to be upside down, it's what people are going to be able to see it. So be very careful in that part. Now, we're going to rub a lot of vegan butter, unsalted that is. And then we're going to sprinkle some sugar. Don't worry, it's not going to be sweet, it's just going to help the onions to caramelize better. Now we're going to let them do their thing for about, I don't know, it all depends. It all depends on your stove, it all depends on everything, but what we're aiming for here is that beautiful, almost charred, caramelized bottom, not burned, okay? It's not supposed to be black or dark brown, it's supposed to be medium to, medium brown, okay? Because it's still going in the oven, so keep that in mind. And all right, and now we are going to add layers in between those onions of sun-dried tomatoes. I cut them mine a little bit because they were too big, and that's that. Also, which is what is very, very, very good with onions, are either fresh thyme, fresh oregano, or my favorite, fresh sage. So you can choose, or you can combine the three of them. The only one that I'm not so much of a fan is dried herbs. But if you don't have any other options and you want to add it, add the dry herbs, but a little bit less, okay? Because they're a little bit more, they're a little bit stronger. All right, so now we're also going to sprinkle a little bit of feta cheese. This one is Violife. Now, if you don't want to use, or you don't have access to this cheese here, the Violife kind, you can use any kind of cheese, but it's supposed to be a little bit stronger because it's supposed to balance out, or not to balance actually, to contrast with the sweetness of the onion. So something a little bit more savory and salty will go even better. Don't forget, speaking of salt, don't forget to salt your onions once they're caramelizing. Alright, so now we're going to tuck in our puff pastry. going to make some small incisions on the top so it doesn't puff out while in the oven. And now we're going to put it in a preheated oven. And that's that. That's that. How amazing is that? This is a perfect dish for a brunch, don't you think? I love brunches. That's why I mention in every video brunches, because I love it. I love breakfast, but brunch is a little bit more something in between lunch and breakfast. That's why it's called a brunch. Yeah, I know. All right, so now that your pie or your tart is ready, we're going to remove it from the oven and we are going to flip it. So that is the time that when you believe in God, you say a prayer. But nothing's supposed to happen because a lot of butter. But if once you flip it and some jumper, you have a jumper, just put it back in. Because on top now, we're going to sprinkle a little bit more feta cheese to help with the extra savoriness and some extra fresh thyme. So this is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed it. This is one of my favorites by far. I love it. Oh, by the way, before I go, if you want to add some caramelized onions, I have a recipe for that over here. Click over here. You can add to it. Or you can substitute for the sun-dried tomatoes or add it along with everything. That is to die for. If you have the if you want to make the caramelized onions, or if you already have it in your fridge or in your freezer, do it because it's super delicious. And this is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this recipe. If you make it, tag me on Instagram and Facebook. I love when you do that. Absolutely love it. And follow me on my social media and give this video a thumbs up because I deserve it. And I'll see you next time. Have a fabulous week. Bye.